So a few weeks ago, I received this comment. I don't know if you'll see this, but if you do, please make a video on the fashion YouTuber Vivacious Honey. She used to be a big fashion influencer, but she's slowly sliding down the conservative Christian modesty culture rabbit hole. And I think you could really make a good video on her while still being respectful. It's sad, and I'd love to see a video on her sometime. Love your stuff as always. Girl, I got you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and on this channel we talk about life and relationships after leaving the church and do some commentary on the goings-on in evangelical Christianity. So for a while now, I've noticed a trend within internet Christianity to lace seemingly innocuous content like fashion inspiration or makeup tutorials with evangelical far-right ideology. On the surface, these Christian content creators appear unproblematic. Their content seems like it's just fun clothing hauls and girly chit-chats. But if you pay close enough attention, you'll eventually spot them smuggling regressive ideas into their OOTDs. Vivacious Honey is a prime example of a content creator who does this.
We love because he first loved us.
Vanessa Chen, also known as Vivacious Honey across social media, is a popular fashion influencer. She's amassed over 3 million followers on YouTube and 2 million on TikTok. She's also the founder of a women's clothing brand called Rain. This is a total side note, but I checked out the Rain website and I gotta say, her clothing line is a total snooze fest, in my opinion. Like, it's kind of giving Kai by Kylie Jenner, and I just don't really think that the world needs another brand peddling neutral basics. Like, there's enough out there already. But of course, this is just my opinion.
That's my opinion!
Vanessa's first videos on TikTok date back to 2020. At that time, she mostly posted like casual and clubbing outfit inspo. In one of her older videos, Vanessa shows her followers how to style lingerie as clothing, while How You Like That by Blackpink plays in the background. Today, Vanessa's content has a noticeably different tone. She mostly focuses on tips for dressing fashionably while modestly and talks about her married life.
It's officially been a year since I've been married. Here's what I've learned so far. Marriage is hard. Getting married won't automatically make your relationship problems go away. The best, most rewarding things in life are hard. Lean on each other, lean on God. It's a partnership. It's not always going to be a 50-50 relationship. Some seasons it's going to be 80-20 and some seasons 20-80. Don't idolize your marriage or make it your whole identity. Marriage is a beautiful thing that reflects its creator's ingenuity, but it can't give you what only Jesus can. Finally, never stop going on dates and spending dedicated, intimate time together.
In one of her newer videos, Vanessa styles an outfit she describes as an old money aesthetic, while Honey in the Rock by Christian and Hillsong affiliated artist Brooke Ligertwood plays in the background.
Feasting on your word.
You'll have to excuse me if I didn't pronounce Brooke's last name correctly. I have been totally out of the sphere of like CCM music for a long time. I don't know who any of these artists are.
Hey guys, Editing Taylor here. Well, clearly I've been out of the CCM sphere for a really long time because I actually got the song wrong. It's Honey from the Rock by Kelsey Breedlove or something like that. I checked out the lyrics for the song and like they're kind of weirdly sexual. Like she's talking about how God's lips have wisdom coming out of them and like she's wants to drink from them. I don't know. It's a little weird, in my opinion. But anyways, just to clarify, it's the song that I mentioned is not correct.
That is not correct. Because according to the encyclopedia...
When I first went through Vanessa's content, it didn't take long to stumble upon a day in the life video absolutely peppered with allusions to the evangelical right. This might not be immediately obvious to you if you're unfamiliar with this subset of Christianity and its intersection with American politics.
Spend a day off with me. I did my first run outside in months, which was rough. Jason and I did our Bible in a Year daily reading together. This was the fit of the day, and then my friends and I made bracelets at the Boston Little Words project store. We then got to see the Cliff and Stewart speak at Harvard, which was such a treat. I grabbed some lunch at Life Alive and some boba at 10-1. When I got home, I spent some quiet time with God outside because it was so nice out. I got some crazy PR from Perfy and tried their pepperoni pizza flavored soda, which was interesting. I ate dinner and watched some Downton Abbey. And because I'm gladly in my grandma phase, I crocheted and watched Bob Ross on a Friday night. Bye!
Some of my longtime viewers probably noticed Vanessa was reading The Joy of the In-Between, a devotional book by Christian influencer Ashley Hetherington. Ashley's content is pre-trad wife in nature. Much of it focuses on staying holy and pure in singleness while upholding marriage as the ultimate goal for Christian women.
So in Ephesians 5, the Bible talks about the role of a husband as loving his wife in the same way that Christ loves the church. And if we are to look at the passage of he who finds a wife finds a good thing, that means that you are already a wife when your husband finds you. Therefore, if you are in your waiting season and your man's still not at your door, you get to become a wife right now. You can become the Proverbs 31 woman who wakes up early before sunrise around 5 or 6 a.m. What a queen. Who puts God first at the beginning of her day through daily prayer and Bible study, developing a heart that fears and trusts in the Lord, who works hard and doesn't let her gifts go to waste, who gives back to those in need, who is a good steward of her home and prepares meals for her family, who shows up every day in her best dress and takes good care of herself, who is a strong woman, like you can exercise and take care of your body and your health. You can even learn to cook healthy recipes right now that your future husband will absolutely love, like a good old steak. Like learn to master a steak, who doesn't fear the future but has full trust in the Lord, who is full of love and kindness and speaks with wisdom and gentleness, and who ultimately is a woman of exceptional character. Every day you get to wake up and become more of that woman as you wait for your future man to find you.
Why does this remind me of Gilead's wife training from The Handmaid's Tale? Maybe because both Ashley and Gilead think that true godly women are those who, organize their lives around the desires of their future husbands. Ashley is also a frequent guest on the chart-topping and conspicuously Trump-aligned Christian podcast Girls Gone Bible, and is good friends with his hosts Angela and Ari. Earlier this year, Angela and Ari gave the opening invocation at Trump's victory rally the night before his presidential inauguration. During their speech, they spread far-right and Christian nationalist ideas like the belief that Trump is a messianic figure who God ordained to save America.
Lord, we thank you for choosing President Donald Trump as a vessel for your nation. As he carries the great responsibility of leading your people, may he rest in the knowledge that you, Lord, are the one who goes before him, and you will never leave him nor forsake him.
So, President Trump, we set the name of the Lord upon you, and we declare that no weapon formed against you will prosper, that every tongue that rises up against you in judgment will be condemned. And if God be for you, who can be against you?
In her video, Vanessa also mentions seeing some guys named Cliff and Stewart speaking at Harvard. Well, she says the Cliff and Stewart as if they're some A-list celebrities that everyone would immediately recognize.
We then got to see the Cliff and Stewart speak at Harvard, which was such a treat.
So she's referring to Cliff and Stewart Connectly, the father-son evangelistic duo best known for their college campus ministry, Give Me an Answer. Cliff and Stewart tour the U.S., going from campus to campus, arguing with college students over the existence of the Christian God. The following clip will give you all a little taste of the kind of work that Cliff and Stewart do.
But if you're saying, oh, well, how can you just, arbitrarily say your system is the best because every single person does that, especially with religion. You're saying Christianity is the best. I mean, anyone can say that about their religion. You're only Christian because you were brought up here.
Excuse me? You want to say, rewind that one. Wind that one by me one more time, that last sentence.
That you're only...
Come on, give it to me, bud.
That you're only Christian because you were here, born here, or in
How on earth do you know that? How on earth do you know that the only reason I'm a Christian is because I was born in the United States?
It's not an attack on your belief.
How do you know what you just said?
It's an assumption.
It is so judgmental, it's scary. I would never treat you that way. That is so disrespectful to do what you just did. You don't have the faintest idea why I'm a follower of Christ.
But isn't it a statistical problem? I mean, forgive me. If that's not true, I apologize.
You better apologize. That's off the wall rude. I don't have the faintest idea why you believe what you believe. And for me to assume that you believe whatever it is you believe, because you were born in the home you were born in, is so judgmental. It's incredible. You don't know that.
Oh.
And I don't know that. I don't know why you believe what you believe.
Were you brought up Christian?
Was I brought up Christian?
That is pretty pertinent to your belief.
The environment I grew up in was Fairfield County, Connecticut. Go check out the environment.
Okay, but
I'll tell you what, you want to know what God is in Fairfield County, Connecticut? Money. My buddies go to Wall Street, okay? I can promise you, Jesus is not Lord in Fairfield County. The American dollar is. That's the environment I grew up in.
so were you raised Christian?
My mom and dad were followers of Christ, yes.
Okay, then my point stands.
I mean, the student had a valid point. Most people do stick with the religion that they were born into. That's just a statistical probability. While it's generally not great to make assumptions about people, it's not totally out of left field to assume someone's religious beliefs based on their home country. And it's certainly not offensive like Cliff was suggesting. I think Cliff was just being a jackass here and feigned offense to get away from contending with the harsh reality the student brought up. So Cliff and Stuart kind of are celebrities in the evangelical world, at least. They've been doing this shtick for a while, as their ministry dates back to 1991. Cliff, the father of the two, has engaged in theological debates for years, including with well-known atheist figures like Matt Dillahunty. Honestly, I wasn't really that familiar with Cliff or Stuart until more recently. Over the last year or so, I've noticed them popping up all over social media, from the Impulsive podcast hosted by the notorious Unaliving Forest guy to Daily Dose of Wisdom run by MLM scammer Brandon McGuire to even the Within Reason podcast hosted by atheist Alex O'Connor. Cliff and Stuart were even dubbed members of the Christian Avengers by former Impulsive star George Janko, alongside some of the internet's worst Christian creators like Bryce Crawford, Ruslan KD, and Angela and Ari from Girls Gone Bible. Cliff and Stuart recognize that these days, social media plays an important role in disseminating evangelical far-right ideas. I kind of think that they've established themselves as mentor figures to these young Christian influencers in order to reach younger generations with their conservative messaging. This is a tried and true strategy, as social media played a significant role in Donald Trump's re-election. Trump made the YouTube rounds leading up to the election, often appearing on bro podcasts like Impulsive and Flagrant, hosted by comedian Andrew Scholes. Another side note, but Andrew Scholes allegedly his ex-girlfriend and famously has beef with Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick called Scholes out for making jokes about Black women, and Scholes fired back saying that Kendrick was too woke to understand a joke. I don't know about you all, but I am so tired of white men and their stupid ass podcasts. I'm all for banning boy podcasts at this point. So it's not just your run-of-the-mill conservative Christian influencers that the Connectleys are connected to. They're also well connected to even more overtly political influencers like Charlie Kirk.
So you've been doing this on campuses for a while. It's kind of similar to what I do, somewhat from a political standpoint, but we're unafraid to talk about the deeper things, more important things. Talk about that. I mean, that's...
Yeah, sure I will. You know why I like him? Because he hasn't made the mistake of elevating politics over faith in Christ. Okay? Obviously, we can slip into a type of nationalism that is rah, rah, rah country and leave God out of the equation. That is lethal. And what Charlie does in a way that I've come to respect is, because I've been confronted by more and more of this type of issue, is he puts Christ at the center. God is the basis of your worldview. And then because of that, you respect your country. You're very grateful for what our foremothers and forefathers have done in putting this country together. And you want to return it to the Judeo-Christian ethic that was the foundation of this country, even though we're well aware of the fact that many of the founding mothers and fathers were deists. And no, we're not deists. We believe in a personal God who's involved in our lives today, not in a distant God who remains aloof. So we disagree with Thomas Jefferson, with the Jeffersonian Bible, but we're very grateful for the Judeo-Christian ethics that our forefathers and foremothers held to so tightly.
Don't worry, guys. Charlie Kirk isn't a nationalist. He's a Christian nationalist, which makes it so much better for some reason. It's cute that Cliff thinks Charlie Kirk doesn't elevate politics over God, when in fact, Charlie Kirk is a political commentator who's made it his mission to be the connective tissue between evangelicalism, white nationalism, and MAGA. If you're unfamiliar, Charlie Kirk is a conservative activist and founder of Turning Point USA, a nonprofit organization that advocates for far-right ideals in schools and universities. Just like the Knechtleys, Charlie Kirk understands the power of social media and has connected young Christian influencers like Bryce Crawford and George Janko to the faith arm of his nonprofit. Charlie Kirk is notorious for his bigoted and frankly white supremacist takes. Just last year, he blamed aviation accidents on diversity initiatives. He said that if he were on an airplane and saw that one of the pilots was Black, he'd be worried that the pilot is unqualified. He's also pushed the Great Replacement conspiracy theory, an idea with anti-Semitic roots, which posits that the influence of white Americans is purposely being diminished through immigration. He said on social media, Great Replacement isn't a theory, it's a reality. Okay, so at this point in the video, you're probably wondering why I'm talking so much about people like the Knechtleys and Charlie Kirk instead of Vanessa of Vivacious Honey. This video is supposed to be about her, after all. Well, I think that the shift in Vanessa's content from fashion to conservative religion is just a symptom of the efforts of a larger far-right media ecosystem created by people like the Knechtleys, Charlie Kirk, and ultimately Donald Trump. I really don't think that Vanessa realizes that connecting herself to Ashley Hetherington also connects her to aspiring dictator Donald Trump via Girls Gone Bible. I don't think she knows that by shouting out the Knechtleys, she's connecting herself to Charlie Kirk, a literal white supremacist. I don't mean to guilt her by association, but I also can't ignore that social media acts as a funnel in which viewers fall deeper into increasingly polarizing, salacious, and extremist content. I mean, in all likelihood, a Vivacious Honey fan will eventually find themselves watching something from Turning Point USA. This is just how the far-right media pipeline works. Vanessa might be unaware of the dog whistles in her content, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. And I'm not the only one worried about what this shift in her content means. Recently, I found a Reddit post in which one of her longtime followers was concerned about Vanessa's sudden religious rebranding. They said, I was really hoping it wasn't a grift, a setup to sell us stuff or to sanitize her brand. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. But then she released her podcast and titled it Sponsored by Jesus. I watched the first episode. It was pretty short for a podcast. I watched with the intention of keeping an open mind. By the end, I felt disappointed and sad. I'm not sure how to describe it, but there was an undertone of toxic positivity and like a lack of self-awareness. They continued, overall, I think her faith is genuine and sincere, but the execution is questionable and concerning. I don't know if she's red-pilled or just out of touch. Below are the red flags that stuck out to me. She's following Girls Gone Bible, a podcast duo that presents themselves as apolitical, but they prayed over Trump at his inauguration. They promote pre-trad wife content and encourage women to submit to their husbands. She's also following Bryce Crawford, a street evangelist who's partnered with Turning Point USA Faith, the media company founded by Charlie Kirk. She's posting modesty content and old money outfits, which are conservative dog whistles, in my opinion. And she's stopped taking pole classes and stopped listening to music containing explicit content. only listens to worship music like Hillsong and Forrest Frank. So I watched the first episode of Sponsored by Jesus, and just like Vanessa's clothing brand, I found it to be a total snooze fest. In my opinion, it's just an exact copy of other Christian girly podcasts like Girls Gone Bible or Ali Yost's Coffee with Christ on Ice. I mean, when you've seen one of these podcasts, you've literally seen them all. Like, they all just say the exact same thing. Vanessa mostly quoted Bible verses and repeated empty platitudes about how she wasn't afraid anymore to scream about her faith from the rooftops. One of the only interesting things she said, at least to me, was that she came to faith just 6 months ago. I swear, guys, it's always the converts. For some reason, they convert to Christianity and have to make it their entire personality. Well, it's not even that they have to make it their entire personality. It's like they have to convince everybody else to make it their entire personality too. That's the problem. She also said this about the name of her podcast.
So, as for the name of this podcast, when I first shared my testimony on the internet, one of the comments that I received was, "Oh my gosh, why are all of the influencers all of a sudden preaching about Jesus? It's as if they're being sponsored or something." And I thought that was so funny. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Yeah, we are ambassadors of Christ. So I just thought it was a really funny name, and then also pretty applicable, because what an honor it is to share our faith. And obviously we don't have any material gain by being sponsored by Jesus, but truly, like I was saying, what an honor it is to share our faith. We have a Father in heaven who is looking down on us saying, "Good job, daughter. Good job, son." And I think that is the best reward and the best motivation that exists.
Her commenter is correct. So many influencers are suddenly talking about Jesus. Well, more accurately, they're talking about Jesus from Texas, whom Semler mentioned in their viral song. In the last few years, especially since Trump's reelection, there's been a political and cultural shift to the right. We're seeing increasingly more politicians, celebrities, and influencers fall down the evangelical far-right rabbit hole. I mean, Gwen Stefani, Kat Von D. And I think that this is partly due to the rise of influencer or social media Christianity, a shallow form of Christianity in which spirituality is thrown on like a trendy new outfit. This form of Christianity is less of a genuine transcendent experience and more of a marketing gimmick. As journalist Amanda Marcotti said in her article on the Jesus Glow trend, a lot of online Christian content is shallow self-help, presented in a way that's not so different from what beauty influencers or dating coaches offer. Just like how Trump secured evangelical votes by waving around a Bible, I think a lot of these sudden conversions to Christianity in the influencer sphere are motivated more by a desire to have a gimmick. In a world saturated with aspiring influencers, you do need a selling point or something that differentiates you from the crowd. The whole Christian thing provides an influencer with a marketing angle while simultaneously holding up the status quo of shallow self-help that's so ubiquitous online. I mean, honestly, would Angela and Ari from Girls Gone Bible have the thriving media empire they have today if they didn't go the Jesus route? Would anyone watch if they were just another pair of failed actors with a podcast? In Vanessa's case, I can't speak to the legitimacy of her conversion, but I also can't ignore the role social media and marketing might play. She claims there's no material benefit of being sponsored by Jesus, but there's a certain irony in making such a claim as a very successful content creator on a monetizable platform. Her podcast has less than 2,000 subscribers right now, which is partly due to the fact that she literally just released it. But if it blows up, would she not run 5 or 6 ad integrations on her episodes like Girls Gone Bible? Like me, Vanessa is a full-time content creator. She'll monetize that shit at the first opportunity. And considering that Vanessa has such a huge platform already on her other accounts, it's very likely that her Christian podcast will grow too. And there's just no way that she's not going to monetize that or place ads on that. I think the biggest issue with Vanessa's content is that it's so subtly evangelical and far-right coded that you might be unable to spot it unless you're already familiar with that sphere. This reminds me of something Jenny Neiman said during our interview about Girls Gone Bible. She said watching Angela and Ari felt like she was catching up with some of her girlfriends and having girly talk time. After a while, she felt like things were off about them, but it wasn't until Jenny watched their speech at Trump's inauguration that GGB's far-right leanings became clear. And I fear that many women will run into the same issue with Vivacious Honey. They'll feel like her content is just fun, girly time without knowing that far-right ideals influence Vanessa's content. Just like GGB, Vivacious Honey is a pipeline to MAGA and the far right, whether or not she's aware of this. I think her content is yet another example of the far right's attempt to reach younger women by presenting their lifestyle and ideals as cool and fashionable, as if it's just something that all the popular kids are doing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a huge thank you to my patrons who help make these videos possible. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe and ring the bell. If you'd like to follow me on social media, my Instagram is Taylor_the_antibot. And if you'd like to support this channel financially, a link to my Patreon will be down in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. Say bye!